Okay, today's the big day. You're moving out. What are you eating?
Oh, oatmeal.
You're not supposed to eat it right out of the bag, you fucking idiot. Why are you eating it like that?
Oatmeal.
You're gonna get sick, and then I'm gonna have to clean it. And I told you I don't like puke, because it makes me fucking vomit. I'm not cleaning up both vomits.
Oatmeal.
Get your shit together. Stop fucking eating.
I'll tell you something that might make you laugh. I was playing my PlayStation 2 during one of my young summer days and was somehow introduced to The Punisher at a time when rated M games were looked at in a serious light. Parents everywhere felt nervous to let their kids play games that were deemed too violent and realistic. This is still a persistent issue today, but what separates our time now from then is a simple explanation that I can try to summarize for you all. If we were caught playing a violent game in my household, the instant reaction would be for one of my parents to turn off the console and force us to stop playing. With that in mind, can you imagine their reaction when they heard their kids playing a game where the dialogue is like this?
Calm down, Ma. We're all emotional here.
I'll show you emotional, you little shit! I'll rip your balls off and feed them to the dogs!
Fuck you, asshole! I ain't seen them all day.
Sir, the procedure takes time.
If that nuke isn't armed in 30 seconds, I'm gonna use you as a condom!
This ain't your granddad's Gears of War. This is The Punisher, an outstanding PlayStation 2 title developed by Volition in January of 2005. They created the Saints Row series and previously had quite a reputation for their memorable games, but sadly they've since announced they are departing from the gaming scene. Based on the movie that's based on the comic, The Punisher for PlayStation 2 was a magnificent, brutal, and chaotic mess of a title. Every kid that got to play this growing up knows how serious it was. It was so serious that they had to get Thomas Jane back to voice Frank Castle respectively. I'm not kidding, that's really him.
How many people have you killed in the last few weeks?
Not sure. There were a lot of explosions.
But...
Add a noun and a verb, and you've got a sentence.
They knew exactly how to bring the iconic hero into the gaming industry, fit with some of the coolest quotes known to man. I find myself quoting some of these out of nowhere, even in my adult years. Think back when this game came out. I hadn't ever seen gore like this, and I have so many core memories of my parents watching me play this violent shit and resenting it. Understandably so. Truth be told, I just liked how different it was. Compared to other games that I grew up with, like Grabbed by the Ghoulies or Time Splitters, The Punisher was brutal to the very end. The game's main shtick was its interrogation mechanic. On every level besides one, enemies can be interrogated for important information. Frank is allowed to utilize special areas in the environment of these levels, pushing the extent of how far he'll go to break someone, quite literally. Some of these scripted interrogations are so fucking brutal. Can you imagine being killed by a fucking rhino? Or how about a pool of piranhas? Frank Castle's methods have never been moral, but neither are the people he hunts. It always seems like the Punisher gets mixed up in a lot of shit. The beginning of the game focuses on Frank visiting a crack house near his apartment. This entire segment serves as the tutorial for the rest of the game, teaching you how punishing works and whatnot. Fighting your way through the tight corners and decayed lofts will test your might, especially if you're playing on a harder difficulty. It's a rather satisfying game fit with a lot of memorable moments, so I'll do my best to cover those before I move on to my complaints. The weapon roster is pretty standard, with a few goodies thrown in here and there. Every time Frank plays a mission and earns a specific score, he unlocks a new gun. Before you head into the level, you have the ability to change Frank's gear. Instead of using that shitty dinky pistol, why not swap it out for a better revolver? The shotguns are useful at close ranges, which isn't news. That's like saying the shit I took today was brown. You can wield a pump action or an automatic shotgun. Both are effective in their own ways, but playing through the game by using just the auto shotgun is a little too easy. I'm glad they went with more options in the assault rifle category as opposed to others. Sidearms are the handy dandy pistols that Frank holds in his back ass pockets, and like I said, some are better than others, but each one has its quirk. Pistols have a high firing rate while revolvers deal heavy damage with a slowed one. If you want, you can dual wield pistols and primary guns, but your accuracy will be reduced. Spend enough time playing through these oddball missions and you'll save up points. What, you thought that massive scoreboard was just for shits and giggles? No way, man. These are your points, and you'd better watch how you spend them on upgrades. Frank can improve his accuracy, mag size, health amount, A bunch of factors that make this game worth replaying. There exist unique challenge modes for each mission, though I didn't personally play them much. I'm stunned that games don't come out with nearly as much content these days, and if they do, they often hide it behind a bullshit paywall. Way back then, video game creators didn't want to pump out trash. This was the same team behind Saints Row, for fuck's sakes. It makes sense why we love it. I want to talk further about some of the levels. Central Zoo was always my favorite stage as a kid. It's lengthy and packed tight with action sequences. I enjoyed using the various interrogation methods that are placed on this stage. The Nuchis are a disgusting group, aiming as low as murdering defenseless animals in their exhibits. Like, holy fuck, look at that! Those pieces of shit cut a zebra's head off? Seems kinda comedic now that I think about it. I'm also a big fan of Pier 74. The Punisher shifts his focus towards a drug smuggling operation led by a group of Russians who are armed to the teeth. Utilizing the help of another infamous Marvel character, Black Widow, Frank brings a shitstorm of fury to the docks, demolishing everything in his way. You can even feed a dude to a shark.
Chum served.
At the end of the dock stage, you have to blow up a tank. It's not too difficult as compared to later boss fights. Aside from the blood and absurd gore, the Punisher's gameplay makes you feel very powerful, especially when you obliterate everything in sight with slaughter mode. You can throw knives one at a time, or even two simultaneously. Oh my god, look at that! He just fucking punched his head off! That's stupid, but kinda cool. I'd like to think, since this is a Marvel game, that Spider-Man is out there web-slinging across the city while Frank Castle is butchering an entire mob family. It's really cool that the devs implemented some unique interactions with other Marvel icons during the story. Inspired by the scene from the movie, Frank gets ambushed at his apartment by the Russian. This level doesn't allow you to use guns, so your only option is to dodge football fucking head here. When he misses, you get to jump on him like a monkey and steer him into interactive QTE fights. I really liked doing this, and only wished the mission were longer. It's very creative watching Frank use his own belongings and apartment to beat the hell out of this mutant-sized man. He gets treated like a 4-year-old at the playground. It's super entertaining. The jungle stage is okay until you get to the end of it. It turns out the Russians survived being tossed out of a 3-story fucking window, and he's back for revenge.
Bullets are like mosquitoes to the Russian.
What is this? Everybody fuck with Tristan Day? I can't even hurt him with my guns. I'm using a 50 caliber sniper rifle and this beefy fuck can't be penetrated. In a really tedious and annoying manner, you have to wait for him to lift up one of the explosive barrels, then shoot it. He runs back and forth like the Terminator on a treadmill. It's at a breakneck pace and other tiny assholes begin spawning just to fuck you up even more. I felt the same way about Stark Tower. Amazing level, it's got some good shit in it, including Iron Man himself, but the end boss battle was lame. It's just a fucking helicopter with assholes launching rockets onto you. I figured out a cheap way to eliminate them, but it took a lot of damage and I wasted a lot of rockets in the process. If there's ever a mission from any game that makes you feel like a pathetic loser, it's probably Stark Tower from the Punisher. It is a bit hard to reflect on these gems without noticing the cracks. To summarize, I'll give you a synopsis of my lesser enjoyable moments. Due to the clunky, outdated design of most PlayStation 2 games, there's always been a strange, stiff movement feel to the characters. Frank has the ability to dodge by pressing R2, but sometimes you just get locked in place after hitting the button. The animation plays out like normal, yet Frank doesn't move a fucking inch. It doesn't make sense. What the fuck stopped me? An invisible wall? Although all of the interrogations are unique and brutal, the game punishes the player for using them, no pun intended, by decreasing the player's total score if you go through with brutally killing an enemy. This doesn't feel right. Shouldn't we be getting a higher score because of the namesake of the fucking game? You're really gonna throw a wood chipper into the mix and then slap my wrist for using it as intended? That seems kinda weird. The score mechanic doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's so hard to gain points in the main game, at least in my opinion. I tried being as careful and tactical as possible, saving my bullets only for fatal headshots, speedrunning through easy stages, and I interrogated important people every step of the way, but for some reason I couldn't break past bronze on most of the levels. I know it's the staple that holds this packet together, but interrogating people is only so much fun. After a while, you realize there's kinda no point to doing it unless you want to see the demented death animations. You don't get points for killing people while using this method, rendering it useless in my opinion. Frank doesn't even ask intriguing questions. You can just mow these assholes down and the level will continue to progress, though some things might be slightly harder for you to figure out. Like I said, I can see why people would replay the game more than once in an attempt to discover all interrogations or secrets and whatnot. Play it for more than 30 minutes and you'll start getting a feel for it all over again, your eyes glued to the enemies that caused Frank Castle's most recent meltdown. Unfortunately, I want to end this review with one more complaint. It has one of the most underwhelming and difficult final levels of any PS2 game I've ever played. You find out that some guy named Jigsaw has wanted Frank dead for quite some time apparently. During the Stark Tower mission, Jigsaw stole some of Tony Stark's equipment, like a suit of bulletproof armor and a jetpack. This asshole just floats around like a high butterfly blasting blue balls at Frank. And they're really stupid. It didn't take me long to figure out that all you need to do is stand underneath him and he can't hurt you. That's cool. But then you get to the second stage of the fight and shit gets really fucking dumb. I was so frustrated and impatient at this point because my health doesn't recharge at all during this segment, and much like an old game would, they spawn a random grunt every few minutes to throw you off. You have to use slams in order to hurt Jigsaw, but he can see and shoot them if you're not being smart about their placement. I died twice at this part, and guess what? Actually, no, don't even fucking think about guessing because you know what I'm about to say. Every time you die, it's back to the beginning. Fucking beautiful. What a massive flaw that still sucks to this day. Your health doesn't refill, so that makes it easy pickings for these assholes to surprise you with a death move when you least expect it. Bunch of fuckernauts. After the greaseball is finally dead, Frank flies the helicopter away and the credits roll. It's really not that climactic if I'm being honest. Earlier missions in the game brought me so much more entertainment, like Ma Nucci's estate or the Central Zoo even. I hated fighting Jigsaw because he was a pussy who stayed up in the air and needed fucking rockets to hurt Frank. The rest of the game though is phenomenal and unforgettable. If you haven't, you should definitely consider downloading an emulator and getting this title. It's worth every second for a first-time player, and it'll shock you with how far it goes in terms of vengeance within a diseased species like humanity. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for tuning in again. I'll see you guys next time.
Yo, dude, check out this epic prank. Fireball!